G'day, I'm Benny Hoover, and this is Lawn Care Skull Sessions with my co-host, the Bearded One, the Bearded Lawnsman.
Boom! What's happening?
Back in the hot seat, mate.
I think it's pronounced Sheshenge. What a fucking kook, eh?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you haven't seen it yet, BJ, what is it? It must be on Paul Jameson's.
Yeah, Paul Jameson. I got his. I don't know how it happened.
El Buque Nerve.
I was pretty nervous because I just went over to say goodday, and then he fucking plunges a microphone into my face. He's like, "You can be my first interview of the fucking whole expo." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I said Sessions.
Yeah, but you know,
it's all right. He couldn't understand me anyway, I don't think.
I mean, I think it was weird because he actually was looking at you like you were lying.
I know.
And then he questioned you, and then, but man, like, I don't think I've ever seen any American imitate an Australian and have it believable.
Yeah, I know.
So,
yeah, he wasn't. I caught him on the second day, and on that night after I met him the first time, we got pretty loose. And I was so fucking hungover. It was incredible. It was the most hungover I've ever been in public. I went and hid in the toilet for a bit. And yeah, he caught me while I was walking through. He's like, "Hey, you ready for another one?" I'm like, "Okay." And that one didn't go to air, so I don't even remember what I said.
So for everyone out there who's listening, BJ has been over the US at the, what do they call it? Equip Expo?
Equip Expo, formerly known as the GIE.
That's it. Now, this is the largest green industry expo in the whole world. Happens annually, although there was a small hiatus because of COVID. So pretty much today's episode, we're just going to share stories. Obviously, I wasn't there. BJ's just going to share some stories and some insights into, you know, bits and pieces that he saw. People that he got to meet, maybe some hot shit coming eventually.
Dude, there's some cool shit on the way. Well, I mean, it might not make it here, but it's cool shit all the same.
You know, and then some other industry goss. So, before we really go too much further, we have a couple of extra reviews here. That BJ, I'll just get you to quickly get out of the way for us.
So Aussie Dobbo, 5-star, enjoyed listening to your podcast, love using the lawnmower wheel locker that I purchased on Catch Pro. Yeah, Benny.
Booyah!
Another one from Paul, Paul. It's in the game. Proposals. This would have to be the best episode yet, revealing so much information a Google search won't provide. This is going to give so many new starters a massive leg up. Keep up the good work, boys.
Now, I don't know, maybe we read that one, but because we've been off for a couple of weeks and because we cooked the audio before you left,
yeah.
we're a little bit like, where are we?
Well, the episode 71, the right audio is there now. I just re-uploaded it, so everyone that's subscribed should get a notification. And if you go and listen to that, that's a 2.5 hour episode.
And it's unfortunate, like, we haven't really, because the episode really only aired a couple of days ago, we haven't really started to feel a lot of the feedback coming from that. But that was the episode on brand loyalty, basically just a discussion of that. And if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and have a listen because it is an interactive episode.
Yeah.
And it was cool just, you know, learning, you know, if there is brand loyalty or not.
That's it.
I know someone Turtle reached out to me and he said, honestly, even if like still machines were painted pink, he would still get them because he loves them so much.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So anyway, back into the show. I'll tell you, or I'll just at least share one thing first that I saw on Instagram. Ballard had shared like people doing Corey impersonations.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
And I just, as soon as I saw it, I was like, because I know for me, I just immediately, you know how he does the little front tuck for the little, you know, like how we used to do it in the 90s.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know I because I've thought about it before, like, you know, send him like a
Just
little
do it.
spoof of himself, be like, this is the fucking pro-sep. You know, you need to get one of these, fucking game changer, completely change the game. Yeah, I would have loved to have been amongst all that.
Oh man, I was too in awe of the size of this fucking joint. Like, inside was incredible. Like, every brand. Well, there was actually a couple missing, but everything you can think of is there, from landscaping all the way through to lawn care. Like, you think that was massive. Like, it's the biggest place I've ever been in my life, just inside. And then outside, they had 30 acres of just machines fucking going everywhere. Machines, they had, you know, just even the Vanguard, they had a Vanguard booth there where you could walk through, and they had a breakdown of all the engines and stuff. Like, yeah, it's an incredible place. It was too much to film it all. I just kept taking photos. And the two guys that I was with, Scotty Osborne and Robert Shearer, like, I couldn't have...
You don't give Duncan any love?
Well, Duncan was doing like the business thing, but
Okay.
I mean
No love for Duncan.
No, there's too much love for Duncan. But Duncan and Elle, his wife, they were incredible hosts. Like, I still am just in awe of the opportunity they gave me. But most of the time I was with Rob and Scott, and fuck, we had a good time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not drunk that much since I was a teenager.
I guess that's what scares me, you know, because I'm not a big drinker these days. And, you know, I guess you want to be a part of the boys.
I
mean, the biggest reason why I don't drink is because I get headaches and stuff. It just doesn't end well for me.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm against it.
We full had a mad, like, so the way the trip went, I'll go from start to finish. So,
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, obviously, we've got no notes.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, let's break down this trip in segments, and maybe we can talk about the equipment as opposed to like the networking or people.
Yeah.
But let's start off with like travel. Now, we know how daunting it is.
It's fucking off-putting. 28 hours, dude. 28 hours. So I had to fly from Brisbane to Sydney, met up with Rob in Sydney, and then we jumped on, met up with Scotty as well. And then we rock and rolled on a plane from Sydney to San Francisco.
Now, how long is that flight?
So that was 15 and a half hours.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident that was 15 and a half.
And so that's in one hit, 15 hours?
Yeah.
Now, was that at like, did you sleep a lot or no?
I didn't fucking sleep at all.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude, it was shocking. So I think...
How many air sturgeons did you do?
None. The whole time there and back, I was like...
You must have been like nervous or something.
Up, man. Like, I was taking like gastro stop because I didn't want to shit on a plane.
Did you have any air orgasms?
No, because only one time like Rob was sitting next to me and...
No,
like,
not in their plane seat.
Oh, no, I didn't jerk off on the plane. I should have though. I didn't even think of that. See,
you could, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely could.
Yeah.
I could do it anywhere. But no, it was the flights for me. Look, I'm a big lad and a little bit squishy, but it was funny. Like the first flight to San Francisco, I was sitting next to this Russian dude, and straight away he saw me, and then I saw him call the hostess over, and he's like, "Can I play for first class?" He was trying to get away already. I'm like, "Oh, this motherfucker goes because the seats you can pull the arms up." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just sloth out in this."
Yeah.
But they were like, "No, the book's full. The flight's full, so he couldn't go anywhere."
When you were on that plane to San Francisco, can you get up and interact with other passengers? Like, could you get up and just be like, "Fuck yeah, hey, Rob, how's it going, mate?"
Yeah, you could. Well, Rob and Scotty, like, because I was like ringing, like with Elizot, we only said I could go like last minute, so
yeah,
I was a couple of rows behind them. And it was kind of funny because, you know, it was two seats there and I was back on an aisle seat. So I was relatively comfortable the whole way. But I was watching them and they had like 4 or 5 drinks. And then straight away, this fucking hostess was like, "You guys are getting cut off." I was like, "What?" I'm just sitting there just banging Jack Daniels back. And I I was just looking down there and I was just like pointing and laughing like a little kid up the back.
So, from San Francisco, what was the next travel destination?
We had an hour or so in San Fran. We were gonna shoot to it's like the pier there, like it's like a
Yep.
So we didn't bother doing that because, you know, by the time we got out of the airport, it would have been fucking useless. We would have driven past and driven back.
I know for me, I probably would have punched down like 20 durries.
Yeah, probably. But we just waited in the airport and then we caught a flight to Nashville. So, and fuck, Nashville, man, wow. Like 3 a.m. finishes every night. It was crazy.
Nice people?
Excellent people. It is the hens party capital of the world.
Yeah.
So there were just giant groups of beautiful women everywhere, and I was, I have to say, I was quite popular. The beard, the Australian accent. Every time I bought a drink, I have never had so many drinks bought for me in my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was incredible. I was just like, this is awesome. I had some dude buying me shots, and that's when shit went downhill.
So, like, I mean, I don't know the US that well, but like when you're in Nashville, you're out partying, like what music do they listen to?
All country. So
all country. So
in Nashville, the atmosphere was like everyone had cowboy boots.
Country music live, I think, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was all live.
Yeah. But if it's like playing and you're like, man, play some fucking gangster shit.
Yeah, but it was like, so there's a main street there. I can't remember what it's called, but everything is about 4 levels, and every level there's a different band playing. So like people go there, literally get scouted and become famous. But man, I went hard there.
Yeah, and so you said everyone's wearing cowboy boots, hats as well.
Cowboy hats,
flannies, nah.
Or like plaid shirts.
Yeah, plaid shirts. Yeah.
Short denim skirts. It was.
And I mean, I saw your photos. For anyone who wants to track any of this, you can go and have a look at TBL Property Maintenance. Yeah. There's some stuff on there.
Yeah. I will upload some more, but just working through all the photos, fuck me dead.
So obviously you got to chill in Nashville for a bit. There's no business there, just all fun.
No business. We went and played Top Golf. I was just blown away at the amount of homeless people there are, like on the outskirts of all the cities. Like the main streets are all nice and clean and showy, and then as soon as like we scooted out and there's like people rummaging through bins and tents and shit everywhere, so I was like, ooh.
Greatest country in the world, right?
Yeah. I mean the people that we met were fantastic, and as I moved through the country, like I saw a difference in every city. But yeah, the homelessness is pretty wild.
It's one thing. I did some research when I started sort of connecting with Corey, and because he would ask questions about Australia, some things that I didn't really know because some of this stuff is normal to us, right? But one thing I did learn is that in America, as a citizen, there's actually like a clear line, like a definition between lower, middle, and upper class.
Yeah.
Whereas in Australia, you can sort of be, say, middle class, and you're bumping shoulders all the time with like mega high class people.
Yeah.
And when I say high class, I'm talking strictly financial. I'm not talking about importance. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like over there, from what I understand, like the research that I did is like if you've got money and like lots and lots of money, you're not rubbing shoulders with people that don't have any.
Yeah.
And there's a way bigger differential there between that, which
it's legit too.
I don't know if it's good or bad, homelessness or whatever. I think sometimes it's brought on a lot by the choices that those people have made.
Yeah.
Not always.
Oh, a lot of the time it is.
But like, let's face it, if you're a crackhead or whatever, and you don't have a place to live, it's no one's.
Yeah,
it's no one else's fault, but I think, anyway, from even if you travel around Australia, there is homelessness.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was like right in your face. Like I've never really seen people fucking scavenging through bins as hard out as they were. But fuck, funny story. so in all the states, like, weed isn't legal all the way through, but they do have shit like, it's called Delta 8 and Delta 10, which is like a derivative.
It's like that shit that I smoked in NZ.
Like spice and K2 and that sort of
I had
bullshit.
some shit in NZ, and so I'm not a weed smoker at all, right? And I've done it before, but I've never been a weed smoker. I don't like it, you know, all of this stuff. And we went to NZ with, 20 mates or whatever, and they bought some shit, and everyone, was smoking it or whatever. And oh my gosh, I was so high. And what made it so much worse is we watched that Eddie Murphy's Raw, and like, I did not want to be there. It was so funny, and I was like, like the little nervous,
little ratty,
the nervous high one. Yeah, like that's what I was. Everyone else was just like letting loose, having a good time, and I was just like, I'm so high.
Dude, everyone smoke. Like, you're in the street, and they literally are riding push bikes with like little trailers on the back selling this fake weed.
Wow.
And everyone's vaping and shit. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But we were picking up these e-scooters because like it's the easiest way to get around. It's like little e-scooter, and this big dude was walking towards me, and he's like, "Hey man," I was like, "Fuck!" This guy looked homeless as fuck. He's like, "I just went in this shop, man. I just had this argument with this piece of shit," and he's like, "You sold me something, man. You sold me something last week, and I'm so high I can't come down." And I was like trying to hold it together because he was so concerned and serious. But oh, dude, fucking the look in his eye! I've never seen someone so banged up in my life.
So obviously, Nashville was the highlight of the recreational side.
Yeah, it was.
And so from there, I think, did you head to Chicago first?
So no, from Nashville, it's only about a 2.5 hour drive.
So did you guys drive?
So we drove from Nashville to Louisville.
And who was operating the vehicle?
Rob, because fucked if I was doing it, because that is a mind fuck.
And is he any good at driving on the other side of the road?
By the time we left, he was. We had a few close calls. His goal was to hit 100 miles an hour at some stages, because we would be cruising at like, I think the speed limit in most places was like 70 to 75 miles. Like, he'd be doing 80 miles, and fucking dudes with camper trailers and shit would just be like, straight past us at these incredible speeds. It's like no one gives a shit over there.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. But no, it was pretty cool. Like, there's like dead raccoons and dead deers and shit all over the highway, just like splattered. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Looking for fucking koalas and shit, none. But so first thing we did, we went to our hotel in Louisville. Oh no, we didn't even do that. We drove into Louisville, and we were going zip lining. So this is where the story takes a little turn. So we were all booked in to go zip lining. We walked in, and it's an underground zip lining. So it's zip lining over like these 100-foot drops. So Scotty is afraid of heights, so I was keen as mustard. Rob's done it before, and he was super excited. So Scotty and Rob weigh in, because you have to weigh in, and I jumped on the scales. And I saw the look on this chick's face behind the counter. This little fat dumpy chick behind the counter. I was like, what's going on here? And she came around the other side of the counter and looked at my feet. And she's like, oh, that doesn't seem right. And just walked off. And she was speaking to the manager. And she came back and she's like, this has never happened before. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, you're too heavy, you can't go. And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, you're too heavy to go on the zip line. And I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, jump back on. I jumped back on. I was like, how much do I weigh? She's like, 320 pounds. I was like, I'm not the fucking Big Show. I think your scales are wrong. And she's like, well, like I have to go by the scales. So she's walked off again to talk to the manager, and then they're both in front of me just telling me I'm too big to go. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Rob and Scott are both pissing themselves laughing. Like, I just was like, what the fuck? That's nearly 150 kilos.
Yeah, so...
Are you kidding?
Well, okay, so, yeah.
And, yeah, so I full got fat shamed in Louisville. I had to go on a kid's ride just to make up some time. I literally sat on a choo-choo train. Like an underground choo-choo train with all the kids, and there was like a breastfeeding mum next to me. Then she had another kid on her lap. Then there was another kid next to her, and then the grandparents were in the back. So all the fucking people who couldn't go on the zip line, except for fucking big fat me, I was just sitting in the front there, just like, this is the most boring fucking thing I've ever done in my life. It literally just drove through this underground cavern, this man-made cavern, so it's not even like anything cool to see.
Yeah.
It's literally just nothing, just rock.
So rolling into the show, I guess that's probably the next stage of it.
It was.
I'm just curious to know, like, was everything easy to find? Like, did you have, say, passes printed out and, things like that? Yeah. Like, what was all of that like?
So when Rob organised everything, he got us tickets. I got sent confirmation, so I filled out the confirmation online. And literally all you have to do is you have it's like a e-ticket on your phone. Walk up, they scan your e-ticket, print out your passes, and that's it.
Yeah, okay,
so
cool.
We actually got there when everyone was still setting up. So we snuck in and we went for a walk before anything was set up, really.
So that's what I was going to ask. What time, like on the first day when the show opens, what time of day does it open? Because
so it's sort of split. So from 9 to 12, it's dealers only. So dealers and distributors only.
Okay.
So I got registered as a distributor.
Yeah.
So I could go in, but we actually went in the day before.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we snuck in and we went and met some people, and that was awesome. But yeah, the next day we got there nice and early. Duncan and Elle were with us, and we the car park is so big that we got a golf cart to the front door.
Yeah,
like, there's
crazy.
people running around in golf carts. So we got a golf cart to the front door, went in, and like we were just it was a completely different scene to the day before. Like opened up and there was just fucking people, and just it was crazy. Like everything. The first store we saw was the Milwaukee stall, and it was probably the smallest stall there.
Yeah.
Like, they did not have a big presence there at all.
Yeah. Now give us some greasy details. Now I don't want you to reserve anything. Like you need to, when I sort of ask you, okay, what was hot, what was not, all of this stuff, you got to put your feelings aside and let it out. But like, what was some of the things that you were able to test where you were just like, this is either not what I thought or this is fun.
So I'm really glad that I didn't go to the DeWalt stand, because that motherfucker was on fire. Like literally, it was like the talk. So I'll give you the first day we didn't actually jump on any machines at all. So the first day it took us like 9 hours just to do inside.
Well, even keep in regards to that, like was there things that you saw? Like I think you might have mentioned something to me on text, like, oh, we saw the Hustler SF, which is a machine like that I look at, and I'm like, well, I would want to own one of them. But I remember you saying like, oh, the height adjuster or something like this. So tell us about some of these things.
So we walked in, and the first thing we did was go straight to the Scag booth, because it was a little bit quieter, so we could meet all the people. And straight away they had all this fucking new shit there. So I was just like, oh my god!
Yeah, now I haven't had a chance. I mean, we've seen drips and drabs, but like, what are some of the key things that you saw? Which is like,
so the EV Scag, the V-Ride.
With it and
no perspex.
No
perspex. No,
okay, cool.
It's all blacked out. So that actually the first thing I saw was the blacked out Cheetah.
Yeah.
So they've got a new blacked out model of Cheetah.
Yeah.
That just.
Can we go back to the V-Ride for a minute?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that machine? Any of the specs? Because I know that when we heard about the Liberty EV, we were a little bit down on, say like the 2 hour run times.
6 to 8 hours run time, depending on, grass conditions and things like that.
Because that's going to be the difference with some of this. There's lots of EV stuff to talk about, but I know when we heard about the Liberty EV, there was like, oh, let's maybe not highlight it too much. It's 2-hour runtime.
Yeah.
But that is because like the Liberty is a residential mower. I mean, it is a residential mower, really.
It is.
And so that's what you see there. The V-Ride, it's known as a commercial mower, so you get that commercial runtime.
Yeah, and that's one I got to ride, and it feels like a V-Ride, except for every battery machine that I tried tripped me out because there's just no noise. And I was just like, I didn't feel comfortable, like I couldn't hear the revs or anything like that. It's just like push and go.
I know I've only ever ridden a mean green stander. I've ridden the sit down as well. I know like the reaction time, it's like a 1/10 of a millisecond behind, and then it really kicks in.
Yeah, they really...
And it's a little bit weird. And was the Scag like that too?
No, so that's one of the things that I liked about it. It felt like the controls felt very similar to the controls on the V-Ride, on my petrol V-Ride. I did try the mean green, so I know exactly what you mean. I didn't really like the mean green. The thing is, like, I didn't get like hours on these machines.
No, so I think
it was like...
I think this is one thing that like the audience, or at least the listeners, need to try and understand, because we had a conversation privately about this, is like, I think whatever you're used to is what ends up feeling good to you.
Yeah.
And because I know, I don't think I told the story, maybe I did, but Russell's had the KG Spartan and I've had my V-Ride here, and I'm not on the tools anymore, and we swapped the machines out. And so I've got the Spartan here, and I legitimately, and like this was a machine that I was using 20 hours a week, and was really connected to it. And I either thought I'm broken or this machine is broken. I could not fucking ride it. I almost crashed it into my garden, and I was just like, what is doing here? But it just took me a minute to sort of get back in the field, because I was very used to my V-Ride. So you would probably say that some of that...
Well, definitely, it'll translate. So I jumped on the V-Ride first, and then like I went through all the other brands and jumped on as much as I could. So we went from Scag to Mean Green. This was outside. Then we jumped on to Cub Cadet. And the Cub Cadet, it wasn't too bad. Like I don't know if they're going to be a price point mower here, but they weren't too bad.
Can we just stay on Scag for a minute? They got a 21-inch.
Wait, I've gone outside. So inside. So I got inside, and I was just like, holy shit! They had like, their stand was fucking packed. So it was really hard to get through. But eventually we met everyone. So we were like meeting owners of Scag, and the other boys had met them previously, and Dennis is like their top sales manager and stuff like that. Like incredible people. I met Megan. She's like the marketing manager. And Olivia, she's another marketing manager, and man, they were all so nice. Like I'm fucking grabbing hats and shit. I'm just like, stuffing my bag full. But anyway, 21-inch self-propelled push mower was a release. I knew about it. I didn't tell you about it because I got sworn to secrecy.
Dog act.
Fuck yeah.
It's only all my secrets.
Oh, yeah, nah, you don't.
I do.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll rock, paper, scissors later. Anyway, but yeah, I got told about it like a week before we went. And so I knew it was going to be there. Got there and I was like, fuck, this looks like a monster. That one was actually, it's still a prototype. Has a fabricated deck on it. All the photos of those are fabricated deck ones.
It is going to come out with a press deck though, is it?
It is going to come out with a press deck, but it'll be like typical Scag quality. Like they won't.
I don't think anyone needs to trip on a press. Look, I think realistically, I think on a 21-inch, like the 30-inch SFC obviously is very, very heavy, and it's very well built. Not a press deck doesn't mean it's not a well built machine. It just means that it's like for that market. And I don't think you would want a 21-inch mower that weighs X amount of
30 kilos. But no, it's going to come with 2 power options, so a 5 horsepower and a 7 horsepower. So you can choose the option to have that Kohler Command Pro, the same engine that's on the SFC30 on a 21-inch push mower.
Yeah, and do you know, like I just noticed that it has like the 2 front adjusters.
It's a 4-way adjustment.
Yeah, so when you say 4-way, is it every wheel?
Yep.
Do you know if that's going to change for the Australian market?
We did talk to them, and
I don't know how that goes in the market. I know I immediately hate it.
There's a lot of people with like Toros and stuff that have the same thing.
That's why I hate it as well.
And it might change. We spoke to them about a lot of stuff, and they were so receptive. Like I literally was with the guy who's like the top engineer there. So we had.
So they should. Like if there's a place to test anything, it's Australia.
And I think there's going to be one sent down here because as soon as I posted it, the first 15 comments were, "Is it a full shoot? Is it a full shoot? Is it a full shoot?" No, the prototype is not a full shoot. The fucking chute on it is so deep though. I've never seen a deeper chute that's on this 21. It's fairly wide too. But they're going to send one, and I did mention to them, so I mentioned to them at dinner. By the morning, they were already looking at the specs on a full shoot and how it would happen. So they are so receptive, and you know what? They're going to send one down here to test out.
Beauty.
And hopefully that performs well, and they don't have to change anything. But it's one of those things. I'm happy. I've
got all the confidence in the world that, because it's not really new engineering, so they're very capable. It's just the wheel adjustments that I can see it being. It's just not as efficient.
Yeah.
And I think, whether or not that they'd change that for our market, I think that's probably unlikely.
Well, we'll see. Well, I was just blown away at how receptive they were to comments, and
maybe Cash Pro will just come out with an override system.
Maybe. Yeah.
I can't imagine it.
Aftermarket. But so there was that. They had the EV 30-inch, which was pretty cool.
I think I need one of them, man.
You reckon?
I am sick of fuel, and I've got say 1,200 square meters of lawn here.
Yeah. And
I use either the 48 or the 54 with the catcher, and it's fine. It's just that sometimes I feel like if I want to cut lower, or for some of the smaller patches, I just need something that's not so big, and something that's a little bit more forgivable when you're trying to get it. It happened on my V-Ride and on my Spartan, but one thing I've noticed when you're cutting really, really, really short on these zero-turn mowers, if there's a fair bit of length, it just doesn't seem to be a beautiful even cut.
Yeah.
And I think if you've gradually got it down, because we flooded while you were away.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't mow. And so I had an absolute bastard of a time. I wanted to give it all a good shave. And I felt like it would have been good to get it all down with the zero turn and then just mow it all beautiful, with all your little lines and stuff. But mate, I'm done with petrol.
Yeah. Well,
if I could call up Rob or say Paul Sheehan and be like, "Oi, give us a battery stand on," I'm not buying one for 60 grand because I'm not in the business anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'd just about take whatever someone threw at me.
Yeah.
Because
it's wild, man.
Mixing up fuel, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I don't deal with it anymore. I'm running all battery stuff.
Well, I don't have to trip anymore because the way the truck's set up, I can just fill it up
I know I sound super precious. It's just that I have to go to the servo for a special run to fill up a jerry can, and then whereas when I was set up as a contractor, I would have all the machines, all the jerrys, and you sometimes it felt like you spent half an hour there, but you were good for the week.
Yeah, that's
and it was something that I had to do. And now sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I want to get out my lawn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, motherfucker, I've got no fuel.
Yeah.
And it can be a split thing. It could be 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, fuck this, I'm sick of doing this. I want to go mow.
Yeah.
Did you get to see, was there anything else new from Scag?
They have an aerator.
Ah, yes.
They brought out a stand-on aerator. So they've changed it up from the Toro aerator. So they said they wanted to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't copy anything at Scag. Like they wanted to fucking get, they did. So they explained to me, they got a heap of other units and they ran it against the unit that they built. So they could see how it performed and if it was up, and it performed really well. So a lot of the guys who run the Toro units would know that the chains run through the middle. So you got your 2 sets of tines, one on each side, and they've actually pulled the chains off to the side. So there'll be less wear on the chains, they'll be easy to service, all that sort of shit. It is a 50-inch wide machine.
Holy moly!
It's a fucking unit. But yeah, that was incredible because further in the story, we got to go to Scag and we walked through the R&D section and it was fucking awesome. So, but yeah, so we were at the Scag booth. There was that. They had their dragster there. I met the fucking driver, Schumacher. Got myself some Scag Nation shirts. Got a fucking hat. I actually took their last Scag Nation shirt and took a few of the hats. But yeah, I looked across. And this was one of the most surprising things to me. So Hustler had a massive stall. Like, it was huge. There was fucking no one in it. I think the buyout really put a sour taste in people's mouths about Hustler.
Look, I think probably because the whole dealer networks are going to change. People don't know if they are or aren't Hustler dealers.
Yeah.
They don't, and I mean, like, a lot of this is probably in Australia.
Yeah.
I think, but you've got to always think that whatever's happening here is surely happening over there.
Yeah. Now, I know Kenny from Stripe Life, he was there and I saw photos, but I mean, I know for a fact that if I knew it was giving free shit away, which he did tell me, but we were like under the pump to get everything done in 2 days. Yeah, so he had a giveaway there and there were heaps of people there, but every time we went in on both days, I was like, fuck, it is empty. So, and
they didn't have any new releases, right?
No, nothing that I could see. I did get to check out, so I checked out the SF. So that was a machine that you brought up way back in the day. So that's a standard that runs at about 24 k's an hour. And I looked at it and I thought, fuck, that's cool. And then I was like, where's the pin height? It's on the fucking deck.
So I think when you mentioned it to me, I never went back and did my research, but I think it's actually automatic.
Oh, okay.
But what it is you got to put, you have to go down and put the pin in.
Yeah.
And then it's automatic to transport and then back to your leveling.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'd have to go back. There is a YouTube video, a good walk around on the SF. When you had mentioned it to me, nothing really clicked in my mind of honestly, I can't even remember what I was doing when you mentioned it, but it kind of went over my head and I never really went back to it, but I'm pretty sure I do recall it was an actuated system.
Okay.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it is.
Yeah,
so what about I guess it's not something that we ever see much here, but was there anything from like John Deere that...
John Deere had a bit of a presence there. They have battery stand-ons, battery sit-down. Everyone had a battery stand-on. Everyone. Now, one of the most impressive stalls, actually there were 2 really standout stalls there in the battery world, and it was fucking Ego, obviously. Like, they have a huge presence at the moment. I actually met up with Baz there, which was awesome.
Good old Baz.
So he had a cruise around. He showed me all the new tools. He showed me concepts of shit that hasn't come out yet, but fuck me, they got some incredible stuff coming. Some of the, all the commercial hedges, commercial snippers, commercial, what else was there? Commercial backpack blower, all these commercial units with direct plug-in batteries.
Yep.
So big game changer for them.
What about their Zeros? Have they upgraded?
So they had a 52-inch fabricated deck there. Fucking some of the features on this battery unit is crazy. They have like a phone pouch. They have like another big, and they
Can you
have
bung
these.
a cash pro on there?
No, I don't think you. Oh, on that, yeah, I'm sure you could.
You can't on their pressed one.
No, but on the fabricated deck, it's just it's a bullnose deck. I don't know how it cuts, but they had the weird steering machine.
Zero or
yeah,
tracker?
like a little go-kart.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like Mario Kart styles, which was pretty cool. They actually had a track inside that people could drive around on.
Yeah, yep.
And one of the big ones that had a massive stall, Greenworks.
Greenworks. Now
they had some fucking eye-opening shit.
Now, Greenworks, I don't think has ever been represented properly in Australia due to the fact that they've had a good commercial line for a while,
Yeah.
but we've just never had access to it.
So the reason is it's two different companies. So with Greenworks, there is a commercial sector and there is a residential sector. So Jack Max in Australia, they're the residential guys. They just bring in residential stuff, so they can't bring in the commercial shit. So that's why we do not see all this creamy stuff here. So they brought out a 32 battery stand-on, and I was like, holy shit, like game changer.
Well, look,
8-hour runtime.
I think I don't know how the machine performs.
Well, that's the thing too, like
I think,
better
you know,
than DeWalt.
well, actually, look, we'll come back to Greenworks, but some key ambassadors ended up dropping some interviews with like DeWalt engineers.
Yeah.
I guess because it got so much bad publicity, but they wanted to make it pretty well known. Like it was a prototype that burnt down.
Yeah.
And that it was a reveal, I think, for people to see the concept. Now, I'm sure everyone has seen the footage of this DeWalt burning down.
Yeah, it doesn't really show the concept though.
No, but the concept, like, I mean, it's been done before. There was a company called Convertible, and they had like a stand-on. Well, it was a walk-behind machine that converts into a lap bar zero turn, and it looked exactly like one of those dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like this is well over 10 years old, and I don't think that they ever sold. It was like an independent engineer, and obviously no brand picked it up.
Yeah.
The patents have obviously run out, and DeWalt, I was really surprised. You would have heard us saying on here, specifically talking about DeWalt, I had expected to see all of these hustlers in the DeWalt booth.
Yeah.
And not only did they not do that, but they had obviously been, behind the scenes doing R&D on not just normal stuff, but like proper new thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And it just resonates with me a lot because you can come out with a stand-on these days and it's like, well, I think that's great, but like you can get a stander anyway.
Well, I mean, look at Still. They didn't even want to come up with their own thing, so they just rebranded something else. So.
Yeah, I want to come back to that. I want to come back to that as well. But in terms of this DeWalt,
bro, that was an impressive machine. Like
So,
it was on a rotating. It was like an
Austin Powers.
Yeah,
thing.
like an Austin Powers thing, man. And I was like, fuck, like it looked like a transformer, and I was just looking at it. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how does this even work?
Well, it's just because so many people out here might not really know. So, just explain to them what this concept machine actually is.
So it was so they had it when we first saw it. I was like, oh, it's a new sit down from DeWalt. And then I looked over because they were both on these rotating platforms. I looked over, I was like, that's a new standard from DeWalt, and looks very similar, and it's got lots of the same things. And I was like, fuck, it's the same machine. So they had it in sit down.
Yep.
And then they had it converted into a stand up. And it was actually it was pretty cool to see. It looked cluttered when it was a stand-up, but it looked, when it was a sit down, it just looked like a sit down. So
yeah, and I just want to explain to people like the benefits. I think there is going to be some negatives and downsides to a machine like this, but for solo operators, or like maybe even for people that maybe only run 2 or 3 crews, or just have like a vast variety of work, say like you, or say like what I had, I think the reason why this concept is so fantastic is, mate, you go and mow 2 or 3 acres, stand up, and you're alert, You go to a job like the 40 acres, and through the forest, you might stand, and on that 20-acre stretch, depending on what the seat's like, you've got that option there to sit. Or if you really love to sit all the time, you just sit all the time and you stand up when you become, when you get to hilly properties, or, whatever the case may be. When you're loading a machine, obviously it probably doesn't have the same compact features that other stand-ups have.
No, it was big. Like, it looked very bulky, but it was probably one of the coolest. As a concept, I was standing there with Rob and with Scott, and we all bleed Scag. But we were all sort of like, that is a fucking cool, that's a cool concept. Like, they've done a good job to make they literally made a transformer. Yeah. I was just waiting for it to go in front of me and just fucking turn into something else. If pterodactyl or some shit.
If anyone wants to see the original concept, take a look. I think if you YouTube convertible mower, you'll see there's a sit down that used to basically convert to a walk behind, and I think it was big enough where you could run a sulky behind it, I guess, if you wanted to, but they do the perfect, they've got, this dude he's sitting down and he's doing it, and then he comes to a river or a creek side, and he's like, this is fucking sketchy, fucking boom, 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 and then he's just, walking behind the stuff.
The funniest thing about the whole thing was, as soon as it happened, it was about 15 minutes and it was viral all over Australia.
Oh, man.
Poor Sheenan posted a video straight away to LMCA, and I was just like, holy shit. He posted it to LMCA before I even heard anyone talking about it. Speaking of hearing people talk about stuff, everybody probably has already heard about the Honda thing.
Yeah, I never even clicked on any of the articles, only because and there's been a lot of talk and some controversy actually surrounding, some of this. Look, all I wanted to get to is I'm a bush ranger guy now.
Yeah.
And so Honda has just been so irrelevant to me. I'm still running a Honda.
Yeah.
But I've just always seen it when people are like, oh, Honda's closing down or they're not doing this or whatever. I just always thought, the first thing I thought was, fuck yeah, me homies at Bush Ranger are going to get a grip.
Yeah.
They'll be able to get that grip.
Yeah.
What the controversy is that I have seen some stuff lately. There's been some warranty issues with some Bush Ranger stuff, and a few bits and pieces that I've seen, which it doesn't matter how tied up you are with the brand or how much you believe in it, you can't ignore it.
Yeah. I'll say I've got two of the self-propellers with Lawnsman, no blade brake, and we fucking run them hard. They're everyday rollers, and we haven't had a single issue.
No, I think some of the stuff, and they're just comments on Facebook. Some of the stuff, one that I saw was an issue with either a hole or a crack in the deck. They are mowing in WA, which we know is very sandy. It's a lot harder on the machines, but it did happen within 12 months, which I think is probably not.
Yeah, that's.
I would expect that after say two or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I actually went and had a look on the Bush Ranger website, and the commercial warranty for the deck is only 6 months. So that was kind of where I had looked at it. And I'm not a Bush Ranger ambassador, right? Yeah. They're a brand that helped Catch Pro, and so I've become familiar with their stuff, and I've bought my own stuff. sometimes they give me stuff to test. And I remember the first thing I thought was, I wonder if there's anything I can do to try and get that warranty up.
Yeah.
Because it gives contractors peace of mind.
Yeah.
However, if there is no Honda anymore, I think that's where it gets tough.
Well, it's a perfect time for another 21-inch to hit the market.
Yeah, and look, that Scag, no matter what, it's going to be...
Yeah.
They're going to sell some units.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Now, will it be on the level of Honda? I don't know. I would say their biggest hindrance would be stock.
Yeah. Well...
Can you get 5,000 of the fucking things in?
I don't think, from what I've heard... Because I wasn't in, like, the actual meetings. I was just tagging along. So, from what I've heard, like, there should be pretty good stock levels. And Rob was like, fucking send them all to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sweet. But, no, so that was the first thing I heard. Like, we rolled in. One of the first things I heard was, did you hear about Honda? And I was like, oh, shit. And this was from one of the Scag guys. He goes, perfect timing for us to have this all developed and ready to rock and roll because... Honda look like they're moving out of the market. Now, I don't think it's got anything to do with it. There's no definitives. Like, I'm not 100% sure. No one that I spoke to could give me any definitive answers. There wasn't a big Honda presence there at all. So they had a little booth up in the corner and it had autonomous mowers and a battery mower there, so 0 turns. And outside, they had a little bit of stuff with like 3 push mowers.
But I mean, I don't know the answer to this, but seriously, how big is Honda really in the American market anyway?
I don't know. So they're side by sides.
I can see their market honestly being the Pacific region.
Yeah.
You know, like all your Asian islands plus Australia, New Zealand, and you know stuff. Like I can't see North America being there. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You got a brand like Scag that I don't know how many millions in revenue they do every year, but 2.9% of total revenues is Australian market.
Yeah.
Which is this much. I can't imagine that being the same for someone like Honda.
Yeah. Now, in saying that, I think that we are probably one of the best performing international hubs for Scag. So that was...
Well, what other countries? They're probably in Canada.
The UK. Canada's very small, like smaller than Australia.
Market-wise?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was so interesting.
Canada's a big...
It is, but it's not a huge mowing country.
No, it's colder.
Yeah. So Korea, Scag's in Korea.
Yeah.
And the UK and Europe. So what Rob's done and what International Mowers has done is incredible here in Australia. But no, they were all
and yourself.
Thanks. But no, it was an incredible adventure in the Scag booth. I met heaps of nice people. But like moving through, we saw new releases from Husqvarna. They're 0 turns. They look like fucking Battleship Galactica. They have like
battery or
no, petrol with like. So on their lap bars, they actually have like handle controls, and you can see different things. They have like control panels. Straight away, look, Scotty's a Husqvarna dealer. He's like, whoa, like I'm worried about that. Like people will fuck that up.
Yeah. Okay,
So, and you know, like it was cool. Like all these things are cool concepts. It's just whether they'll work in our market, like you know what the sun does to our equipment and things like that.
And my face.
Yeah, my face.
And my skin.
Yeah, look at me. But yeah.
Wait, look at me.
Oh shit.
I've obviously been itchy.
Somewhere. But so and there were big auto mowers from Husqvarna. Like these fucking things were like 4 or 5 foot wide. I think they were called like I forget the name, like Corsair or some shit like that. They were huge.
Yep.
We hit the Massport stand. Everything had bar blades on it. We popped up and had a look at all the.
I think swingbacks are illegal in America.
Yeah, so
it was the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard. Like swingbacks are the fucking bomb, man.
Yeah. Oh, they really are. Like, but they don't have to worry because they're not cutting that low.
Well, yeah, but Yeah, I mean, look, swingbacks is another topic that we'll get into. Can we talk a little bit about this Ferris still?
Yes.
Obviously, they're just Ferrises.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw that I was a little bit disappointed in was that you had still reps, and I guess they weren't engineers, but they had still reps that would say, oh, one thing about the still zero turn that is so fantastic is this independent suspension, rudder. And they're just totally fucking claiming.
It's a kook.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not against rebranding. I think it makes sense. In this case, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But the way
still to get into it,
the way they were showing it off, it was like they just reinvented the wheel.
Yeah, that's what. And I had a look at the comments, and I think if they just pulled the blanket down and kind of was like, hey, this is what we've got. This is a Ferris.
Yeah.
They don't have to say those exact words, but like I think it seemed like they kind of had like an engineer who was trying to describe how great this suspension is. Like they've had it for fucking 20 years when they've only had it for 20 minutes.
Hey, you know what? Like we pulled the seat back on that machine, which is identical to the Ferris. They don't even have covers on their fans, which was like, I was like, how the fuck do you think that's not gonna last? Like, it's just, there was lots of weird things. Like I've never really looked under the hood of a Ferris. So obviously we checked out the stills more than the Ferris because, you know, they're here anyway. But I was just like...
Well, there might be...
a few tweaks.
There might be some tweaks only to help out with, say, still retailing. So rather than coming out with a mower that... Because the Ferris was always going to be high end.
Yeah.
Maybe to just differentiate them a little bit, maybe they have stripped it down. I don't know.
To be honest, if you sat them next to each other, you'd pick the Ferris. Like the still, I don't think it didn't look that good.
Oh, I liked what I saw.
You liked what you saw?
Like, it
didn't even look like still orange.
Well, okay. I mean, I thought you were going to pull me up before that because we all know how I feel about oranges and reds and yellows and all this stuff. But I just do think with the white, how they've broken it up a little bit. Like, I didn't kind of mind the look of it necessarily.
Yeah, it looked super dark. Like a really dark orange.
Like a bit like Cat's Eye or not?
No, like it was darker than Cat's Eye.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was weird. Like just in person, it looked really dark.
One thing that I thought looked really good was the still stander. I thought that looked really cool with the white and orange.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing else like it.
No, there's not. I mean, you got
like
your
Scag,
that's white and...
Yeah, well, you got the Bobcats, which are white and black. Then you got the Scag, which is orange and black. This was enough to differentiate itself from those. And the Ferris stand-ons look gangster. Yeah. Like they're compact and they're like tough and bulky.
Thick.
Yeah.
Now something I did get to cruise around on, I checked out the Altos stall inside.
Yeah.
And we went
coming out in a cramp. No, I just
So we had when we headed outside, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get on one of those. And I was really excited because like I did the sit down and I did the stand on.
Both tracked ones?
Both tracked ones.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my spinal column.
Ugh.
It's like there's no shock absorption. And I actually ended up having dinner with like the owner of Altos. But I didn't say that to him. But fucking when I got on it, I was just like, I could feel like every single time the track was going around. Because I didn't realise how much the tyres on a zero turn actually take in the shock.
Oh man, you can even tell like, I can't remember what mower it was. Or whether it was my V-Ride. No, because my V-Ride's always been like really comfy. I can't remember what mower it was, but even when we put our tyre pressures down, it just made it so much better.
It was wild. So everything else, like the way the hand controllers and everything was set out, the speed was good, which was a surprise because it's a track mower. But like the fucking
look, no matter what, that's a specialty mower.
It's definitely a specialty mower. If you're doing swamps and shit like that, then that's 100%.
Swamps and hillsides, I think, I think for everyday mowing, and especially, you know, they've got an independent distributor here. They're just not gonna really make that much sense for an everyday contractor. I do think roadsides and, you know, people that are doing parks and stuff, I can see it being good.
Yeah.
You know, that's just my sort of personal thoughts.
Yeah.
Did you manage to get around to the right booth at all?
I did, yeah.
Do they have anything new? I know they're focusing a lot on their autonomous
They did. I took a couple of photos of the autonomous one. Scag actually had an autonomous one there as well.
Yeah, I think there's a few brands getting amongst it now.
I think, there was a few that I'd seen from previous GIEs that were there that had already been like upgraded. But yeah, Wright had their autonomous one there. I jumped on a few of the Wright machines, had a little spin around.
Did you have a look at the Wright sit-downs? Because that's not anything that we get here.
I did have a look at them. I didn't jump on one because there was a massive lineup.
They're really big.
They're huge, yeah.
The only reason why I wanted you, it's got a completely different suspension system.
Yeah, I did. That's one of the only ones that I didn't get a jump on. But I jumped on all the Ferris.
I don't think they're coming here.
Oh, they're not going to come here?
The sit-downs, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They only make them in like a 60-inch, and it's a top end, like it's a really top end. You know, like they got the huge blower housing. One. So
it's funny, man. There was this big Jamaican looking dude just cruising around with one hand, just smoking a fucking blunt while he's cruising around on one of the standers. I was just like, whoa.
Did you manage to get around to the Gravely booth?
Yes. So their new, what is it, Z stance, the little one?
Yeah, so the Z stance, I don't know tons about it. I know basically it's just a stripped down pro stance.
Very stripped, yeah.
I think it's meant to compete really with the Standard B, and I actually believe they got all the running gear, but it's even more stripped down.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't have the foot pedal adjuster. I think the height pin thing is different.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the little caddy in the
fucking the presence controllers in the handles.
No, the Pro Stance has that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, that's their thing.
Yeah.
So I don't believe it won't have flat free fronts.
Yeah.
It's an entry level stand on.
Can I tell you what the worst machine I rode there was?
Yes.
Like the fucking worst. So I don't know if it had been thrashed the day before, but the World Lawn 32. And
I think it's called the I'm having a memory blank.
Yeah, I don't know. I jumped on it.
It's not called the Venom. It's something like that.
Yeah, and fucking so it's double presence controls in the handlebars. So you have to you turn the machine on, you put them down, and I went to take off, and it cut out, and it did the same for Scotty and Rob. Like it just was fucked. Like trying to keep the handlebars in. Because you got to, it's a price point machine, but they fucking stinged out hard on that.
Man, that is a machine that it was developed first by Encore.
Yeah, well, it was on the Encore stand.
Yeah,
so the World Lawn and Encore all together.
Yeah. I think they call it the Encore Rage.
Yeah,
but that is like a machine. I don't know for sure, but it retails for like $3,300 or something ridiculous over there. But I do know they were the first to have a 32 stand on.
Okay.
Or maybe Wright was first, but Wright didn't have a floating deck. It was a fixed deck, which is like, go and get fucked. But that was essentially like, it's kind of like your first time people were like, why buy a walk behind? Because those walk behinds are like dinosaurs as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's just put a platform on there.
They still sell a lot, and
they sell tons.
There was pretty much no contractors that I saw without a walk behind. So because we were driving through, and obviously it's a whole nother topic. Leaf cleanup, fuck that shit. Shit is huge over there. Like everywhere we went was crazy. Like we got up to Wisconsin, when we went to the Scag factories, and that was like the leaves were just fucking everywhere.
Did you see Giannis Antetokounmpo?
No, I didn't. I didn't see many YouTubers at all. I saw them walking around, and I was like, oh.
He's an NBA player.
Oh, okay, shit.
For the Milwaukee Bucks.
Fuck, my bad.
No, but that's all right.
But yeah, we walked around, and man, they take their shit seriously. Like, they
have these fucking dumpster things with suckers and.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. Like, the thing is, there in Wisconsin anyway, they just have to bring them to the curb, and then the council or whatever they have like comes and takes care of it.
Yeah.
That's
fucking alright.
Yeah, it's alright. But
I used to do that at Loader.
Did you? Yeah, just like
fucking let loose. Oh man, I used to let loose with a backpack blower for like even a backpack blower. Well, I needed one of those fucking hurricane things. The stand-on blowers. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask, at Gravely, did you get a look at all of their battery pro stands?
Yes. Yeah, I jumped on their battery pro stand.
The reason why...
Yeah, I know.
Did you just bung out of sessions again?
No, I wanted to do that one. Pro stand.
The reason why I ask is because I was speaking to the dude over at Stripe Life, and he had been messing around with the Gravely EV, and I was sort of like, how was it, rah? And he's like, it's not a commercial mower. He's like, it's like a domestic mower.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping he didn't get to mess with the battery pro stands, but I was hoping and I can't see why they would ever make it any less than what it already is in the market. But what I'm hoping, because the pro stands in our market, it's a great build. The features are a little bit different. We don't love the presence control in the handle. We don't love the platform on the rear, but what lets it down a little bit in our market is it's got like 3100 hydros, which is still a good, and it's got an FS engine.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit down spec compared to say your V-Ride or your KG or ZK or whatever. I'm really hoping that with this Pro Stance battery, it's got your 6 to 8 hour runtime with similar technology that say the new V-Ride or the Toro or whatever would have. First impressions?
I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, obviously the controls are all different, so it
takes a minute to get used to.
It does take a bit to get used to.
There's a fair bit of girth on the handles. On the Pro
I'm not
Stance.
used to girth, so I was BBC in my hand.
Yeah, I put it in my hand and like, this is different.
Yeah. Who is this boy? So it wasn't too bad. You only do like 3 or 4 laps of a track, so you get to...
I reckon Vicky would love to get one of those handles in her hands. She'd be like, oh, this reminds me of about when I used to be before Ben.
Oh shit.
Fuck hell.
But I didn't mind it. I can't really, I can't joke. We didn't get to mow, so I can't really...
Well, okay, how did it feel first impressions compared to the V-Ride?
Because I'm used to the V-Ride, they really have it done really well that it feels like a V-Ride.
Okay. Because I'd love to find that out. Yeah. Because I'm not compromised.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, well, the thing is, like, I wanted to jump on everything. Like I said, man, like, one of the most things I was shocked about was the Cub Cadet. So, they didn't have anything else new, though. That was a bit sad. It was just like, meh. But,
in fairness, the DeWalt...
Yeah, they kind of fucked that up.
I would suggest that... Because DeWalt is owned by...
Yeah.
So, I would imagine that a lot of the Cub engineers and because they fired all the Excel Industries engineers.
Well, I'm pretty sure a few people got fucking at least their asses kicked over the fucking flame on.
Nah, see, I think from the interviews and stuff that I saw afterwards, they took full ownership.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They literally would have gone to a boardroom at the expo and been like, fucking damage control right now.
I think their honest major concern was Thank God we didn't burn down the expo or hurt anyone.
Yeah. Well, there was in that video, the guy's like, I was just on that. It's like, oh shit, man. Close call. That fucking thing went up. And it just goes to show, like, you know, nothing's perfect. Oh, critters.
We got critters, eh?
We got critters. Yeah, especially after the rain. I got home, there's fucking flying ants everywhere.
I fucking love the critters, eh?
Oh, no, let's loving critters. So the Gravely was a little bit slow as well. That was the only other
okay, so that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I was sort of hoping that, like, because we know the pro stance is a little bit slower, and, like, you know, I just think if you put a 48 pro stance up against a 48 V-ride, or maybe we can say use the 52s as a better example, but I think you want the speed.
Yeah.
I think the V-ride kind of, like, if you're doing anything over a couple of acres, like, you just want that speed.
Yeah, you do.
And, you know, I don't need to go on about it a million times, but 32 and 36, I don't think it's that important. But
unless you have one mower and you want to vary your work.
Yeah, I still don't think it's as important, but I do think it's very important once you get up to 48.
So the one thing I did jump on that blew my balls off was the cheetah. Yeah, was a cheetah. My first time on a cheetah, and I went around the track a couple of times. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Then they're like, you got it in low range. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I put it in high range. It was just like, and I just fucking took off. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It had, so that had the new 38 horsepower Kohler big block on it. And it fucking hoots. Different sound, completely different sound to all the other engines that I've, because I've got, like I'm used to Kawasaki's, but I've got a Vanguard now, which is a nice sound as well, and then the Kohler is a different sound, but it's not bad. It's a nice sound.
I just always found that because I had a Vanguard, and it was just a louder noise.
Yeah.
And I just the Quackers, like, it's just a nicer noise to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Although I really like my big block, my Vanguard.
Big blocks, I think. Just different story.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck yeah. Here I come, fuck
Rumble
off.
balls, here I come.
Get the fuck out of the way. I just wanted to ask, did you happen to see the Gravely skid steer thing? With the front bucket? And
No.
Okay.
It probably was there.
It was there.
There was like so many fucking machines. Like when you go to a stand, it's like I think it would have been in the outdoor. Yeah, so that wasn't something that I went there to look at because it's got nothing to do with what I do. So I was just like, oh, standard, sit down.
Wait, bro, how sweet would one of them be?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it, or you don't even know?
Well, I'm guessing it's the one that I saw inside. It's just like basically like a little Bobcat stander.
Yeah.
Like a Kanga stander sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I just know, like, I was probably at the point at Greenscapes where I would have been looking for something like that.
Yeah.
Especially if it was a convertible.
Oh, okay.
Like if you could take the front bucket off and mow with it.
Well, that's what Toro have too. They have that multi-force.
Oh, man, and that multi-force is gangster as.
Yeah.
Like, man, they move snow, they fucking aerate, they do tons of shit with that multi-force.
Yeah.
So speaking of Toro, we've actually something that I've learned was, and you can see this when you like take a look at, you know, any Toro stuff, but they've gone out and they've gone hard at your influences.
Oh yeah.
You know, they got Peter Jameson, they've got, so this is Toro X Mark, they got Brian, they've got B&B Lawn Care is, you know, Blake, he's starting to do some stuff. There's another few other key influences, you know, or say key figures.
Yeah.
But what did you think of, like, any Toro stuff that you saw, or is it not?
Yeah, no, I did. I walked through. They've got a battery 30-inch coming out too, which was pretty cool to look at. Plenty of new stuff. Like I rode the grandstand.
Okay, cool. So
the battery grandstand.
Yeah.
That was all right.
You got on a petty one?
I got on a petrol sit down and fuck that My Ride system's disgusting.
Is it really?
It made me fucking seasick.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realise, so this is, I should have known, like I should have done more research, but the MyRide system actually goes back and forth and up and down. So I really didn't like it. I really didn't like it because I didn't feel connected to the machine. On the Scag, so I didn't know, but there was actually a lawsuit from Scag to Toro because
and Ferris.
So they actually had that system in the Cheetah first. But it's an up and down system, and you just can set it's like high, low, medium, and I obviously had to put it at the high one since I'm such a fat fuck. But I found the Cheetah. I was still connected to the machine. I didn't find with the MyRide I was so connected. But
I think you'll find you're completely isolated.
Yeah.
And with the right machine, well, I don't know what they call it. It might just be a ZXT, but I believe it's even more gnarly.
Really?
It's
like you're stuck in a spider web.
And okay, so the Gravely now has it too.
Really?
And I jumped on one out of PLP. And so I mean, obviously I was in a car park. I wasn't on grass. Haven't cut any grass with it. I couldn't tell you if it's good or bad, but I reckon it beats any spring system.
Yeah. I wasn't too fussed on it. Husky actually had a very weird one where they had two springs at the back, and when you sat down, it kind of cradled you, and it was like a similar system. So it looks like everyone across the board has kind of got something like that going now. But yeah, the MyRide system was one, because I know there's so many people who ride Toros and people like it. I'm prone to getting fucking seasick, so yeah, it wasn't my favourite.
Yeah.
What else did I see?
What about anything from Spartan, pal?
I did a few little Spartan runarounds. It wasn't, because I've already tried the KG and I've tried the Bushy sit down, which is a Spartan as well, so there wasn't anything new there.
What about the 34?
34 was there.
Is it stripped down? Or?
No, it's not, like, it doesn't look stripped down, and it felt alright, but yeah, I don't know, it's hard. Like, it was spec'd down a little bit. It wasn't as quick as I thought it would be.
No, it's only got... Oh, actually, yeah, it's got the same hydros.
That's what I mean. Like, I jumped on the right, I jumped on the Gravely, I jumped on the on the Pro stance, I jumped on the Gravely Z stance, is that what it's called? The lower spec one.
The Z stance, yeah.
And they all felt quite slow because I'm used to the V-Ride, which has got the higher speed. But yeah, it was an alright machine. Like, there was no, except for that piece of shit, that world.
Oh, the world, yeah.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, it was horrible.
I actually do think that when everyone's running the same hydros and basically same engines, really it's going to come down to the dampening.
Yeah.
And there's not that much else they can change.
Yeah.
Like, we know that the V-Rides are fairly well dampened.
Yeah.
And, I think there's a video out there of Brian and Dirt Monkey, or Brian and someone doing the Bobcat when there's no dampening. And it's like, beep, 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 which, by the way...
That was a poor portrayal of that machine, I think.
Well, yeah, because we rode the...
Yeah, I know.
We rode the Quick Cat, and it was sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
But then again, like I said, man, I think it's what you get used to. Like,
yeah.
I jumped on a ZK that has the quad lever controls, which I basically call a gimmick.
Yeah.
And within 15 minutes of mine, you're pretty well used to it.
Now, I didn't like it because, I don't know, I feel like it's something that I'd get used to but would annoy me still. Just the reverse. Because, like, most of your time you're going forward, but then you got to move your hands off the controls to go back. Like, you can't just fucking swap.
Yeah, I'm pretty well with you in the sense that I believe Ed did that to literally just be different.
Yeah. And
they're reaching to justify why it would be better.
Yeah. So you couldn't use that one-handed. Like, you can ride a V-Ride one-handed all day. Unless you had, like, donkey dick fingers, then you could fucking...
Well...
Unless you just held the two middle controllers and fucking twisted them and fucking pushed like this, but
I think the biggest thing that the mower companies would look at is they would never encourage anyone to use a machine one-handed.
how are you going to get great footage?
So we have to do the same thing. This is what we think about, like with the Pro Shield and stuff, is we're trying to make a chute blocker that you can operate without removing your hands. Obviously, you know, I mean, for me, you know, you see me riding around on my V-Ride or, you know, even the KG, and man, I've got a durry hanging out your mouth from holding a coffee. I'm doing all sorts of stuff, but realistically, in the field of work, you want your operators to be running two hands. But no, look, I agree. I don't think that the quad lever controller is better. I think you get used to it just fine. I think X-Mark are even dumber fuckers for copying it.
Yeah. So I saw a few cool X Marks. They had a 144 inch machine or 104 inch, one of those two. A fucking monster.
No, it's bigger than that. Hustler has the 104 and theirs is bigger.
Yeah, so it was there. It was like as soon as you walk up to their stand, it's just there like a big fucking tidal wave of red. It's a big machine, but again,
what am I doing?
Oh, he's cooking it. But there was a couple other machines. I forget the name of it, but it's like the OG. So it had so it had 3 portions of a deck. So it would literally move with the contours of the ground.
Yeah.
And they were claiming the OG. Something we don't see here is Coyote.
Yeah.
They had. I don't know, their shit didn't look that flash.
No, look, they're bigger in earth moving and I think agricultural farms.
Yeah.
Like they got better tractors and stuff. They've got some zero turns, but I believe they're a little bit like Kubota and what I think Bobcat is going to end up, where they're just a complementary feature.
Yeah. Bobcat had a stand there. It was pretty cool. We looked at some of the like big snow plows and shit. Like there was such a variation. So they did have like a section where all the mower brands kind of were hanging out. So around the Scag booth, and like Mariama was right next to the Scag booth. So I just walked across. I was like, oh, I got one of them. And I talked to those guys. And
you talked to them about Bush Ranger at all?
Yeah. I talked to them about Bush Ranger. I actually caught up with Paul there. It was cool. I had a beer with Paul. One of the nights we were there. He was.
You bash him?
I tried to. He pushed me off. He's very strong. He's very strong. I tried to slip a bit of fucking Spanish fly in his drink too. But no, he was too cool for us. So he headed to the. He was going to the Kawasaki party. So
yeah. He got COVID over there too.
Did he? Glad I didn't pash him.
No, so it.
I was sick over there.
It hit him the last. Might have been the last day of the GIE, or maybe when he left.
The fucking day I saw him. No, I didn't see him on the last day. I saw him the day before.
Yeah. So can I ask? Did you see any Dixie choppers?
Dude, did I ever? And I fucking rode them, and they are not a bad machine.
Okay, because their claim is they're the world's fastest mower.
Fucking oath, they are quick.
But
I don't know what speeds or specs or anything like that are on them. They had a bunch of different mowers. Some of them looked like shit. Like huge.
They don't even have plastic fenders and stuff. It's all just folded steel.
Yeah, they're tough as nails. But on one of them, like, their lap bars were literally like, I don't know, they were like little tiny tubes, but it was solid. I felt like if I fucking went forward too hard, I'd just snap them in half. But they were solid.
They've gone out of business and been bought like so many times.
But I don't see how, because they actually were a reasonable ride. They were a comfortable ride.
It's just mass production.
Yeah, fair enough.
So what about Bad Boy?
Saw Bad Boy.
Did they have any good chicks around?
No.
Really? All of their marketing is just like.
No. It was strange. It wasn't like a show like that. There wasn't heaps of chicks there.
Well, it's a machinery show.
Yeah, but I mean, like lots of the marketing girls and stuff like that were obviously there, and yeah, it wasn't. There was no bikini girls or anything. I was a bit disappointed. It was fucking freezing there. So it was all right in the show, but outside I was high beaming. I caught up with a Scag guy who He was the guy who did the collaboration with Cujo and Scag, and he brought them together. Matthew Hawke. And there's a photo of me, and my fucking nipples are just like, bang, full beam, and I was like, uh-oh. But that was the day I was super hungover. Like, the way he popped up behind me, I nearly fucking spewed on him. But what else did they have there? Fuck, they had everything, man. There was so much. One thing I did notice was still is like the shit over there.
Well, I was gonna say, like when we did our interactive episode, obviously there is some competition, but it really look, I knew Still was a huge brand, and I knew that it was a good respected brand, but I didn't realise how popular it was.
It was the one booth that was like chock-a-block all the time, and it's funny, like they had all the Still machines from Ferris over on one side, and it was like pretty quiet, but all of their hand tools, their chains, people were hard as rocks over their chainsaws and stuff like that, their battery equipment. They had like a lot of the booths for the hand tools had like walkthrough setups, so like with Equipment Defender and stuff like that. I tried that Featherlight. That's the biggest piece of shit I've ever tried. It's honestly, dude, I fucking, like, no word of a lie, I was like, we fucking have a go at this, Scotty. And Scotty's had a go, he's like, ugh, what the fuck? And I said to the guy at the booth, I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to do an upright edge with this? It doesn't fold away.
No, it just pivots.
It just pivots.
Well, yeah. So
you pivot the machine.
Yeah.
But I was like, when you turn that fucking thing flops down like a big donkey dick.
Yeah. So can you just in case people don't know, what is the Featherlight?
So the Featherlight is Green Touch's attempt at like a Darwin's grip.
Okay, yeah.
Or a whipper gripper.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you know that it doesn't have a lot of credibility in the market when Corey, who is the biggest online direct-to-market green touch distributor in the world, when he doesn't take it on.
Yeah.
That's when you know.
They had like a fancy stall there, but I met up with Matt from Equipment Defender. He took me over all the new stuff, like all the changes they did on a few of the racks. They all, like, it wasn't just Matt, but they all said how good you are to deal with. And
yeah, well, we just got huge shipments in, not of the new stuff. They didn't make enough for the Australian market. So, look, I thought we were going to have it by December, and I've just realised, like, we're in November already.
Yeah.
So hopefully, but they got some awesome shit coming, handheld blower racks, multi-tool racks, and they've got a new sprayer rack.
Yeah.
We'll have all that stuff eventually, and I definitely can't wait. Did you get a glimpse of, like, say, comfort trim or like?
I didn't see comfort trim there, but when I was leaving, I actually saw like the comfort trim like the
yeah.
So that was a bit of a bummer. Like, I thought we went through every single aisle, but fuck, dude, like, this place was huge, like incredibly big. But we saw some cool stuff. Like, I didn't see Corey until like he was leaving to go to the last day of the show, and he literally drove past, and I'm there with my suitcases at some shit time in the morning, 1 degree, and I'm like, Corey! Fucking sick. There's all these fucking homeless people just looking at me like, what the fuck is this? Shut up, I'm trying to sleep.
And you didn't see Brian?
Nah, I didn't see Brian.
Nanky saw him.
Did he? Did he bash him?
They got photos.
Oh, cool. When I was over there, I heard some interesting stories about like what some of the influencers over there are like, and you'll get a guy that rides for Hustler, and he's like got 3 free machines from Hustler, and he's like, well, fucking, I've got my 3 free machines, I only had to do a bit of this, bit of that. Goes off to fucking Scag, and he's like, oh, Hustler gave me 3 free mowers, if you guys do the same, I'll do the same as what I did. And they literally just going through fucking all the brands. And
yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the other brands are like, but Scag were just like, no. So I was pretty.
Well, they don't have any key ambassadors except for you, right?
I was like an anomaly over there.
Yeah,
it was mad. They honestly, they're the best.
Like Hustler has Kenny Morris from Stripe Life.
Yeah,
I don't know who else they have. Toro has, well, they call them the Toro Bros. Like there's like a whole Facebook page that just disses them.
Oh, really?
And it's called like the Toro Bros or something, and it's all, you know, Brian and now B&B.
Well, I thought B&B was a Scag guy, but
he used to be a Scag.
He was, and then fucking...
He used to be a Scag consumer.
Yeah.
Now he's getting Toros.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, seriously, like, can you blame him?
Not really.
I can't. I mean...
The thing with the way I work with Scag is I said to them, I never ever want to ask you guys for anything because I just love being a part of the team. And they're all an incredible bunch of people. So, like, sometimes they'll hook me up with free blades and shit like that. Obviously, uniforms. Like, I got my Scag uniforms. Not going to lie, I got a discount on my last machine. And I got a fucking trip to America.
Yeah.
Like, that was offered to me. I've been down to Melbourne. Like, I'm not out for fucking...
Well, I know, for example, this is no shit right now, that if, let's say I made the decision I'm going to go and get a battery, a zero turn, if I had put the feelers out, like, because I don't legitimately don't want to buy one.
Yeah.
If I put the feelers out and someone was like, yeah, okay, well, you know, you do X amount of footage, talk about this machine, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, rada. I'd be down like James Brown, man, because, like, that's just where I'm at in my career now.
Yeah.
Where, like, I'm sort of like, man, I'm done paying.
What if you couldn't put a catch pro on it, though?
I wouldn't bolt. That's why I don't have an ego.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't suit me because...
Soon.
It doesn't suit me because, first and foremost, I use the Catch Pro in my own yard.
Yeah.
And realistically, if I'm trying to sell a product, that's why we don't promote any mowers that can't take Catch Pros full stop.
Well, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why the brands that we do work with, that's the actual reason why we work with them, because we put a Catch Pro on and shoot film.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What else was
there? No, I don't blame them, but...
there was no Shindaiwa.
No, it's all Echo over there.
There was, there normally...
Shindaiwa's like the Pacific region.
Normally there's a Shindaiwa presence. I was talking to the guys and I said, I didn't see any, and they were just like, nah, they had nothing. And one guy said, oh, I think they do, it's just over behind that wall. And I was like, peeked behind the wall, there was nothing there.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there's some shit from Echo that really needs to come to Australia. Like, they have some cool stuff. But man, Greenworks had a huge stand. They have a huge presence over there, and there was a lot of hype about their machines. They had like 60-inch sit downs, they had big stand-ons, they had every sort of battery machine, 30-inch push self-propelled. They had all their commercial stuff hanging up. It was funny, like the Ego stand was right next to the Greenworks one.
Yeah, awkward.
Arkies, but
Did you see Accelerator? Were they there?
Accelerator? No, I didn't.
I just wondered if... I know they've had stands there in the past.
I didn't see... I was like, oh, what the fuck is that? Because on one of the... not Gravely. One of the... It was either Hustler or Right. There was... I thought it was an Accelerator. It was actually their catches.
Yeah, all the brands. Hustler, Gravely... So Scag and Bobcat, they do the fabric ones.
Yeah.
That's just actually a company that just makes them for all of them.
Yeah.
But then Gravely, Hustler, they have like a steel version of the catches. And then Bad Boy, Walker, they use Accelerator.
Yeah.
John Deere uses Rackham.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, they were at one point. And then Wright has the grass gobbler, which is what they invented before they invented mowers.
Yep.
But no, I just wondered if you saw them.
No, I didn't, which was strange.
They might not have they were super successful over there.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have a booth, but...
I mean, Corey doesn't have a booth.
Well, I didn't even see Darwin's Grip. Didn't have a booth.
They probably don't have any fucking stock.
Yeah, probably. They're embarrassed about their fucking gooseneck thing.
Corey probably hadn't written a check that month yet.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, but...
They're probably got a whipper gripper somehow.
Probably trying to
one of my fucking enemies in Australia probably sent a whipper gripper over there.
Yeah,
like the bastards who sent you video, LMCA video over there.
Oh yeah, fucking what a doggo. Have we spoken about that?
I don't think so. Only because I didn't know what was going to happen litigation wise, but essentially for our listeners, I did a private. We have done no public marketing on the Whipper Gripper product. We've posted some photos. It's obviously live on the website, but we never did any how-tos. No, nothing.
And this was back when it first.
This is when we first dropped it, and the reason is that we needed to fulfill the contractor market first.
Yeah.
There was so many of our loyal contractors that follow Catch Pro that desperately needed something. So I did my own LMCA video and a separate one for Aussie contractors, and we, like I said, we had nothing public. They're in closed groups, and someone fucking copied my video and sent it straight to Darwin's Grip, who then sent a notice to Corey saying that there's going to be litigation, and I haven't heard anything since, and I don't care anymore anyway.
Yeah.
My loyalty is to Corey.
Yeah.
And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. I love the Darwin Grip product, but business wise, man, you just couldn't really,
they failed.
Make it work. And funny enough, everyone, you might not know this because you were away, but we've got Wolverine blades now for the 30-inch self-propelleds. Now, I did a video for LMCA as well.
Yeah.
And someone shared it in the Aussie Contractors group, Greg's page, and he took the video down and then booted out the member that posted it.
What?
And said, "Don't post that shit on my page." And then
what the fuck is wrong with that dude?
They sent me the screenshots, and I didn't post it in Aussie Contractors because I know for a fact that audience, they don't care about Catch Pro. The people who do care about the Catch Pro are on LMCA anyway.
I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, so I just I got a screenshot from someone saying just got booted from Aussie Contractors. I guess they don't like so and so or something, and I said, what's it about? And it's like, I posted your Wolverine video. But funny enough, like, there was contractors who were asking those questions, like, do you have a 30-inch? And I was only responding in the comments. I didn't post the video there because, we get no traction there. Anyway.
That's why I don't bother anymore, because, I get comments when I post on that page, like, oh, fucking, he's so biased. And it's like, fuck off, man. Like I've been in the industry long enough. I run a business. Fucking, I can fucking post the timeline on my invoicing from when I got my Scags to fucking now, and we're fucking, even from last year, I looked at it when I got home because I wanted to see how the boys did while I was away, and I'm fucking, I think it was like 120 something % more this year than last year. So fucking Skags are working for me, so that's why I fucking make sure that everyone knows it. But that's fucked, dude. That's like, would they do? They wouldn't do that in like LMCA. Like, they wouldn't fucking.
No, I mean,
I've never seen anyone bump a fucking post off because it might be a conflict of interest somewhere along the line.
Oh, look, I mean, I know over there they push ASP blades, and seriously, it's not my main part of my business.
Yeah.
Like, blades are something that we do because our customers, they might want to get a Whipper Gripper, or they might want to get a bottle of Mower Magic, and hey, fuck it, I'll grab some blades while I'm here. But the guys over at LMCA, they also push ASP. They've got a relationship with ASP, and you don't see any of this. But at the end of the day, I honestly feel like I joined LMCA as a contractor.
Yeah.
And a lot of my earlier posts, even though I already had Catch Pro, a lot of my earlier posts was actually me out in the field, doing a task, like doing a paid job. And I've always had a lot more rapport with that group than the other group. And like I said, sometimes I comment on stuff and I don't even know which page I'm on.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm most of the time I'm like, I can't believe there's not just one group. But when I physically post, or when I think to myself, okay, I want to let people know that this product's available, or whatever the case is, I legitimately never ever think to myself, oh, I have to remember to post that on Aussie Contractors. It's always LMCA, because Greg doesn't give a fuck about Catch Pro, and he runs that show there.
Well, I thought they were like I thought like Luke. Was it Luke?
Luke O'Neill.
Yeah, I thought Luke O'Neill was.
No, he just took over while Greg couldn't.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not something that really bothers me. Like,
yeah,
I've got.
It leaves kind of a dirty taste in your mouth, though. If they're like, if they're pulling down your post, what else?
Well,
I
whatever.
mean, you didn't even post it.
It's to their own detriment.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to see more and more people leave that place and just join where the party's at.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I thought about it for a minute while it was happening, and then honestly, I didn't think about it again because I was too busy wrapping blades. So anyway, well, dude, I reckon we've pretty much covered most topics.
Yeah, but
now,
I got more for next. We can talk about the visits to the actual Scag factory on the next.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And also, for next week's episode, we're going to talk about debt collection.
Ooh, damn!
So this is probably one of the very few times that we've actually had a topic in the mix.
Yeah.
That we can reveal, because usually we come up with it 24 hours before?
Yeah, just
sometimes 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe when I get here. Over a coffee.
So until then, I am at Cash Pro. He is at TVL. Me out of time.
Hopefully I lose weight. Bam!